Are you an artist who struggles with perfectionism? Trust me when I say you are not alone and you've come to the right place. Today, we're talking about how trying to be perfect can hold back our creativity and even make creating artwork stressful. What if letting go of that need for perfection could help you create more freely and even make your artwork better and more fulfilling? Stick around and I'll share some tips on how to break free and let your art shine, just as I did here with my latest lion painting. Now let's go ahead and get started. The first step for me battling my perfectionism was to completely shake things up and try a brand new, unique, bold color palette. I promised for this painting that I would only use bold colors, ones that I hadn't had a lot of experience using, and I don't think to this day I've ever had a painting with this much red in it, and would limit myself on my paint mixing time. I could for hours get lost in creating the perfect colors for my painting, matching them exactly to my references and ensuring that they were photo perfect. If my green didn't match the grass in the photo, it was time to remix it. The sky, not that same shade of blue I'm seeing, forget it. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to remix it until I get it right. I would lose the fun and the playfulness of color and the endless possibility it brings to your painting. I used to fear making my work too loud or overwhelming would not resonate with my clients, or it wouldn't match my style of realism that I'm known for. Bold and vibrant just didn't scream cassydraws, and therefore I couldn't use anything other than a natural palette. Whatever was shown in my reference photo was always the color that I stuck to. By using a different color palette in your painting, whether it be bold, like mine, or something more muted, depending on your style, of course, this will change, but this can help you let go of perfectionism and have more fun with your work. This change in color definitely encourages us to try new things without worrying about making everything perfect. For me personally, I found that it showed that imperfections or something new can actually create something super special and even propel your style into uncharted territory, like this lion for me. By focusing on the joy of color and how it makes you feel, we can shift our thinking from needing everything to be picture perfect to celebrating our own unique style, story, and emotion behind our work. In addition to changing my color palette, I also began to add texture to my work. This was something that made me super uncomfortable, and if I'm being honest, I almost backed out of trying this technique many times throughout this entire process. And usually with my work, I tend to stick to fine details and flat surfaces because it looks neat and polished, and it kind of scratches that itch in my brain of just making sure everything looks neat and tidy. And the thought of adding something to my canvas that wasn't smooth and looked at times what I would consider messy was a huge obstacle for my creative brain. This is where a palette knife and a generous amount of paint helped push me through the uncomfortable and break free from wanting perfection. If I were to apply a glob of paint to my canvas and it did not look as I had intended, I was forced to work with it. Whether I added more paint and tried to cover over it or fix it, scrape some off with my palette knife, or just kind of let it happen, it was a part of my painting now, and I better get used to seeing it. This shift from detailed, flat paintings to textured and unique ones, sometimes random, helped me move away from the obsession with precision and opened up my mind to the beauty of randomness. It showed me that imperfections like uneven surfaces can add character and depth to my work, making it feel much more alive to the viewer rather than just a painted copy of a photograph. Something that I was very eager to try that would help me break through this barrier of perfectionism was to try much broader, less defined brushstrokes. For so long, I was fixated on creating photorealistic pieces that I would use the tiniest brushes, the most amount of detail possible, and would create a painting that was a direct copy of the reference that I was using. It would take me hours moving section by section to get my painting to look just right, and would be very stressful when I would see just how long it took me to create a very small, and I'm talking very small, isolated section of my painting when it felt like I had been painting for hours and I should have much more progress completed. I challenged myself with this piece to really loosen things up and use larger brushes with less defined detail to create a painting in a style that I don't normally create in and allow myself the ability to just paint. This I found to be incredibly freeing, much more than I originally anticipated. And by embracing a more painterly style, I found that I could focus on the joy of creating rather than the pressure of replicating a perfect image. It's a reminder that the essence of art lies in expression and not perfection. I recommend trying a new painting in a style that you are unfamiliar with, and if you paint like I do, try something more free, more painterly, and if you find yourself a painterly painter, that's a bit of a mouthful, then try something more realistic in nature, or tighten up your details, or maybe go completely abstract. As long as you are trying something new and expecting nothing in return, only that to have fun and experiment, I think you may find it helpful in breaking free from your perfectionism. Now, I want to stop for a moment and I want to talk about mistakes. Instead of panicking when something didn't go as planned, I learned to embrace those moments. If I made a mistake, I'd cover it up, or maybe I'd incorporate it into the piece. And this shift in mindset transformed how I viewed making errors in my art. Rather than seeing them as failures or being an absolutely awful, terrible artist, which, let's be real, that's where our brain goes when we make mistakes, I now see them as opportunities for creativity and for growth. There were a few times where I had chosen the wrong color, or I accidentally used too big of a brush, and I covered over an area that I actually really liked. And instead of rushing to get my paper towel and my water to wipe it away like I normally would have, I encouraged myself and sometimes forced myself to completely let it dry. What was the worst thing that could happen? Really? It looks ugly. I hate it. I never show anyone this painting. It stays in my garage forever, and I just forget the whole experience ever happened. With acrylic, I can cover over it with a new layer, essentially restart if I wanted to, or I could embrace the imperfect and make it work. I encourage you in your paintings and this quest to break free from perfection to sit and allow those mistakes to happen. As uncomfortable and squeamish as you may feel, let them sit. Acknowledge them, and if you can't make it work, that's okay. Start again. But you'd be surprised just how many times I was able to rebound and recover from mistakes in my painting, and in the end actually helped create a more realistic and authentic looking piece. As you watch this video, I want you to pay close attention to the bottom right of my canvas. I originally had made the layer of gold much larger than it actually is in the final, and I actually ended up covering over part of that gold metallic paint with the sort of dark red black color that I used, and you can actually still see the texture and the bumps from the gold metallic that I used quite a lot of. Instead, now it's just covered over with that dark red black color. So I didn't scrape it off, I let it completely dry, and I decided afterwards it wasn't what I wanted, and I just covered over it. So really, none of the other background has texture like that in that color, but I decided, hey, let's just cover over it, let's just make it work, and in the end, I'm actually kind of glad I left it. I think it adds in a really nice look and feel, and it kind of, taught me a little bit of a lesson that not everything you think is a mistake is one. All right, well, I hope you're enjoying this video so far, but I did want to take a moment to take a little break and give you some exciting news. So I officially have my very own coupon code on the Chart Pack Factory store. So for those of you who are wondering where to get my supplies so you can follow along, you can go ahead and check out the new Chart Pack Factory store, which has all of the brands of Chart Pack like Grumbacher, Molitor, Borden and Riley. A lot of the supplies I use are going to be available direct now through through them. So if you use my coupon code Cassandra at checkout, you will get 15% off your order of $20 or more. So I'm super excited to be working alongside ChartPack and their brand new factory store with this coupon code to allow you to get these supplies and follow along direct with me. So hopefully you find that helpful, super exciting, and I just wanted to share that with you today. Now let's get back to painting. Now, for those of you who have been watching my videos for a while, you will notice that throughout this painting, I used a brand new tool, a palette knife. This was a huge step in relinquishing control for me. The palette knife allowed me to create bold textures and marks that I couldn't achieve with a regular paintbrush, and it really encouraged me to try something new that I had never used before. Now, let me tell you, it was an absolute struggle in some areas, and you will see throughout this painting, there are times where I truthfully don't even know how to use it. I am making marks that are kind of half the way that I wanted them to look. Some of them are a little more scrapey than I wanted. Maybe that's the amount of paint I had on there. There's a lot of different variables, but it was not as smooth sailing as I thought it would be. But by the end of this painting, I was actually getting the hang of it, and I was starting to have fun with what I was creating. By using tools that promote spontaneity, like palette knives, or maybe some paper towel bunched up, or maybe other items around the house, I learned to let go of that need for precision and to embrace the process. It's a powerful reminder that art is meant to be explored, not confined to our typical, and try to let go a little, just as I did here, and try a new tool in your next painting and let me know how it works for you. It can be a Q-tip, paper towel, as I mentioned before, a palette knife. It can be something completely random. Whatever speaks to you, try it in your painting, and I'd love to hear how it goes, what you used exactly, and how it worked for you. If you're struggling with perfectionism in your art, I definitely encourage you to try these techniques that we explore today. Let go, have fun, and see where your creativity takes you. Remember, art is about expressing yourself, not about being perfect. Not every piece that you make will be a winner, and there are going to be some paintings that just turn out plain ugly, and that's okay. Art is a marathon, not a sprint, so just keep trucking along. I'm proud of you for taking this leap in breaking perfectionism. It is not easy, but you are not alone. Keep up the fantastic work, keep creating, and I hope you found this helpful. All right, and that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I so hope you found it helpful for your own art journey. If you did find it helpful, I would be honored if you could leave a like and a comment, letting me know which part of today's video was your favorite, and if you do try a new tool or technique, I'd love to know which one and how it worked for you. A big shout out to our Patreon members this month. Thank you so much for your support as always. I am forever grateful. If you would like to join our Patreon as well and get access to exclusive videos and other perks like our Discord or prints each month, you can take a look at the link in the description box below. And of course, last but not least, a big shout out to our channel sponsors, ChartPack, Grumbacker, and Molotov for sponsoring today's video. As I mentioned earlier in this video, you can use my coupon code to get a discount on their factory direct store. All of this information can be found in the description box below. And make your art... Okay. Stick around. Stick around and I'll share some tips. Okay. If you use the code If you'd like to watch more videos and you're on a roll with your painting, you can check out this video next.